Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, sometimes it only takes one question. Sorry, but that's not allowed. Or how a manager can be a complete jerk. Truncate the table in the right place. Descriptions are everything. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Sometimes it only takes one question. Another story from my university sysadmin days. Our cast of characters. Me, department level sysadmin with many unhappy professors. A, my coworker who had all the same problems I had. Dean J, dean of the college that my department and A's department were in. B, interim CIO for the university. G, Director of Networking for the university. I worked at a university back in the early 2000s as a sysadmin for a computer-intensive research department. Most of the users on campus were supported by a separate IT organization that had fairly severe budget and expertise problems. Some of the folks were great, some were not. These folks were having real issues keeping us connected to the outside world. Bandwidth was low, security was bad, infrastructure was poor, all around not a good situation. I was a sysadmin in a similar department who had all the same headaches as me, mainly professors continually complaining about poor connectivity, things like they couldn't reach outside sources reliably from their offices, and could not reach their department research systems from home. These folks tended to work any and all hours, so this was very important. Anyway, I spent a fair amount of time opening tickets with the IT guys on network issues, as did A. It was super frustrating since it was clear that the IT guys were caught in an endless loop of firefighting and basically never got ahead. Finally, A got so fed up he asked his head of department for permission to ask our dean to ask for a meeting with IT management. He asked if I wanted to join in, and I didn't even ask my boss for permission, I just said, "You bet." So A and I go to the dean's main assistant, a lady we had worked with a long time, and was a whiz at getting things done. She got Dean J on board, he was getting all the gripes from professors just like we were, and we got the meeting scheduled. The big day arrived, and we all sit down in Dean J's conference room. Dean J is at the head of the table, B and G are on one side and A and I are on the other. B and G start off admitting to all the problems, telling us how they inherited things from previous managers, not quite true since both of them are old-timers in IT management. And finally they start to lay out all their plans for future. There's a plan to replace outdated network equipment. It was scary, some building were operating on 10M shared environments. They were going to spin up a NOC, implement collecting network metrics, something A and I were already doing for our shops. Implement improved IDS systems, all music to everyone's ears. But there's a problem. A and I having been hearing this for years. And nothing ever happens. Or it's tried and makes things worse. A and I are exchanging glances knowing that these guys are just telling us what they know we want to hear. There are no actual milestones quoted, it's all pie-in-the-sky BS. I'm worried that Dean J is going to buy this load of manure, but no, he's not a dean for nothing. Dean J has been sitting listening politely, asking very few questions, with a small notepad in front of him, and he's been twirling a pencil around, not actually writing anything down. B and G are really talking up the NOC, it's going to solve so many problems once it's up and running. Dean J positions his pencil over the notepad and asks, "And when will the NOC be operational?" B and G start squirming in their seats. Well, you know, hard to say, depends on this or that. And we get a bunch of double talk about how they can't really say when, security is hard. A and I are about leaping out of our seats watching these guys twist and turn. Dean J is just sitting, still holding his pencil, waiting for them to give him some hard dates. B and G are exchanging looks, some mumbled "what do you think," back and forth, floundering like a fish on a dock. Finally they come up with spring semester. I can't resist and innocently ask, "Of what year?" Sorry, but that's not allowed. Or how a manager can be a complete jerk. Normally I try to post the more funny and outlandish encounters and situations from my job. This one isn't that funny. But a part of me really needs to vent this one. For those who don't yet know, I am an application admin for an elder care facility. I manage the electronic patient dossier system, including account management and the like. This morning I got a call from M. M is the manager for some of the supporting staff, mainly housekeeping, and the event organizers. Middle management, she is normally not allowed access to the dossiers since she doesn't actually provide care. And the rule of thumb is no care, no access. M starts about how there's been an incident at one of our sites. One of our clients has threatened one of the staff. The police are involved, and she'd like to have access to the medical dossier of this client. This is what happened afterwards. Me, I'm not sure I can grant you access since you don't actually provide care for this client. Plus, the way our system is built would mean that I'll wind up giving you access to the files of other clients as well. I'll talk to my team lead and ask him what he thinks. Can you log a ticket in the meantime? M, sure, but it's really urgent. The threat was very serious and there's information in that file that will help with the eviction. We break off the connection, and while she logs the ticket, yes, she did do that, I open a chat with my team lead and with someone from control to talk about granting access, whether we should and what alternatives we can offer. Both control and TL are not eager to grant the requested access. TL tells me to keep to the basic principles for access, which tell me not to grant her request. Control suggests that M should talk to the client's caregiver and ask for the individual relevant reports from them. Which is actually a really sensible idea. Armed with this new information and considering the urgency, I decide to not react to the ticket, but immediately call M back. Me, hi M. I've talked about your request with Control and my TL. And I don't think I can grant your request. The information in a client's medical file is privileged and should only be accessed by the people who are involved with providing care for the client. Control had a good suggestion to contact the client's primary caregiver and ask for the relevant reports from her. M, I think that's very strange. My subordinates, the event organizers, have access to those files. So why can't I have access? Me, your subordinates have access because they're required to report on the client's behavior during activities that they oversee. But you don't organize or oversee events like that. M, so I have to call the primary caregiver on her day off to get her to make a printout of those documents? Me, no, there's other people in her team. You can call one of the head nurses as well if you don't want to bother the primary caregiver on her day off. M, I still think I should have access. Now I have to get all this stuff printed out. That's not safe either. Me, no, the nurse or caregivers can send you the information through $secure system that's in place for things like this. M, this is crazy. I am the manager for these people, and they do have access to the files. Why won't you give me access? Me, I'm not allowed to give you access. Even if you're their manager. I'm sorry, but I strongly believe it goes against the privacy regulations of our client to give you access. You don't need to see their medical information. It's my job to be the gatekeeper here, and I can't give you access. At this point, I'm pretty exasperated. I cut some bits out, but we'd been going in circles for a while already. M, well, fine. I'll go ask someone for access. But that means the police will not be able to do anything. Upon which she hangs up on me. I'm really frustrated, especially by that last sentence. It feels a lot like she is trying to blackmail and or blame me for any undesired outcome in the case. I called my TM after she hung up on me, and he has my back. After I've calmed down a little more, I'm going to follow the CYA protocol and document the sh*T out of this. I'm also considering mentioning this to HR. Truncate the table in the right place. All developers were on the rota to work on the support desk for the software house I worked at many years ago. This one story springs to mind. A developer had a problem he couldn't reproduce on our system, and we needed to get a copy of a couple of their tables back onto our system to see if it was something environmental with the system or their data. So, the procedure was basically truncate table locally, log on to client machine via VPN and a PUTTYS client to both our local server and the client's machine and run a utility to pull the table contents. Except this one time, the developer forgot to truncate the table first, so ended up with the union of our test data and the client's data. So they truncated the table and pulled the data, except they'd switched sessions to the client window, so truncated this table on their live server. Daft thing was, he mistyped the command in 2 times before he got it right. Thankfully, because he pulled the data locally, we were able to delete our test data from it and pull the data back in the reverse direction to recover it on the client server. Soon after this, they put a policy in place where any support work should be done on a copy of the live data whilst investigating any issues. Simpler times then, no firewalls, GDPR, data encryption, anonymization. Descriptions are everything. I work for a service desk at a very large auto insurance company, my first official role working in IT. We work with thousands of internal employees every day, and like everyone else, our workload increase has been exponential during the pandemic. I enjoy the work for the most part, but have had my share of headaches working in the role taking phone calls. Recently, I got promoted to work in our help portal website queue, where employees can provide their own help tickets for assistance with the understanding that the issues aren't urgent and will be answered in about 24 to 48 hours. I like not being on the phone all day anymore, but I've received some of the most absurd ticket descriptions while working in this role. The web form is a small text box to provide a brief summary of the problem encountered. Yesterday we had an outage with one of our internal systems that was reported to all employees in the company. We still got a few tickets requesting help, which is expected, but one ticket in particular I could not help but laugh about. Someone submitted a description where they decided to open the source code for the website that was down and decided to copy and paste all 400 lines of error code into the description. In the next ticket, someone wrote one single word about their problem, website. Needless to say, these 2 employees were the last on my list of priorities, since they don't follow basic instructions.